It's a fact. I mean, you can turn a blind eye to it as much as you want, but there is no lie that no matter how much you cry, how much passion you have, how much contemplation of God, observance of the mitzvot, how much lack you have inside, deep inside of you, at the end of the day, some requests are left unfulfilled. Why? Why does that happen? So a very flippant response that the rabbis give is that every single prayer is fulfilled. Meaning answered, not fulfilled. Every single prayer is answered, but sometimes the answer is no. So it's a very silly response. I wouldn't answer that way personally as the first response to this question. But it does touch the surface of a certain detail of truth, that God is omnipotent in the sense that He hears everything. He knows every desire, every prayer, every request, even before you make it. So to suggest that He's not answering it is to say that He's on a break somewhere. He's on a 30-minute break somewhere else, which is never the case. God is eternal in the sense that He's involved in everything of your being, every aspect of your life. So this must stem from a misconception in the idea of what a prayer is. In Hebrew, the word for prayer is tefillah. Tefillah means to connect. It doesn't mean to ask, to beg, to request. No, to connect. To connect. So that is just revealed to us right there. What is the purpose of prayer? The goal of prayer is not to solve your problems. It is to, in fact, is the opposite in a certain sense. Because not that He wants to create problems for you, but He wants you to overcome. So Hashem's goal in creating problems is to motivate us to pray. It's like the reverse of how we usually see it. The idea is that prayer is about connection to the truth of God. It's about connecting yourself, your essence, your being, your soul, to the truth or the will of God. So, one simple thing that we need to understand and get this out of the way before we can continue is that you cannot manipulate God. You cannot change the mind of God. All you can do is enhance your connection to Hashem. That's it. You cannot change His mind. You can't change His will. His will is true in the sense that it cannot be manipulated. Yet, you depend on it. So there is this very uncomfortable vulnerability that we have with God. And I cannot control Hashem. I cannot make Him do anything. Yet, He can alter the course of my life and my loved ones at any moment. Now, what is the natural human response to that type of a relationship? Where we have that type of a vulnerability. Do we say, yippee, woohoo, yeah, we depend fully on Hashem. I'm nothing without you, woohoo. You know what I mean? Or do we naturally recoil from that idea? The natural response is, I don't want anything to do with this. Sounds crazy. So prayer would be learning how to embrace that, how to see the positive in that vulnerability. How to derive that beauty, the meaning, the appreciation for the fact that not only that we have Hashem, but that every ounce of our being depends on Him. And to grow from that. In prayer, of course, you ask for what you need. As part of the prayer is making requests. So, like for example, that the sick should be healed, that you should find your soulmate, that you should have success, whatever. Everyone has different things that they need. But if you really look at the majority of the first parts of prayers, in Judaism we have a Siddur, and it has guided meditations throughout the day. Morning, afternoon, evening. It kind of guides you along your journey of prayer. And if you look at the English translation, the literal meaning, of course you can look at the Kabbalistic mystical meaning when you read in between the lines and the sequence of the letters and all this Kabbalistic secrets. But just the simple literal translation of the words, like just the fact that you can sit up straight in the morning, we take these things for granted. Just the fact that you can talk, the fact that you can walk, the fact that you can stand in the morning, the fact that you can have human comprehension and intelligence. None of these things exist on our own. If a person just sits and lets that sink in, literally, like just how intimately involved God is in every aspect of our being, it changes the way we think about God. But if you think about a marriage, right, a relationship between two people who are intimately involved, right, you're open about your needs and your vulnerabilities and your dependencies and your faults. You open up. You let the person in your life, right? And you can ask for help with what you need. But by no stretch of the imagination do you carry any sense of entitlement or expectation that they have to do that for you, right? So this sounds like perfect marriage advice. If you think about it, I never really realized it, but this is like a marriage, our relationship with Hashem. You know, when we look over all of that and just skip to the part where I want money, I want a girlfriend, I want this, I want that, I want. It's like, we're missing the point. I mean, God is not some Superman in the sky who's here to fulfill every... You know what I mean? Like, prayer is not some code that you enter a computer and it gives you a response fulfilled, granted, wish granted. He's not a genie. So, this type of a view is a very demeaning and sacrilegious view on God. And you're missing the whole point of what prayer is entirely. So, I hope that offers some sort of a clarification on why some requests are left unfulfilled. But if you even go into just to the realm of human judgment, how we think that what we're praying for is what's best for us, it's very rarely the case. The majority of human judgment is premature. We don't have access to the future. We don't know what one thing will lead to. We don't know if something is good or bad. Only Hashem knows that, which is why, at the end of the day, the truth of what's best for each of us is what's the point of prayer. It's the emunah. Emunah means not belief, it means certainty. It's a training process. The more you pray, the more you train yourself to have that faith. And that faith is trust. Trust in the will and truth of Hashem through your prayer, through your intense contemplation of His existence, through praying. So, please continue asking questions in the comments, DM me, whatever, and I'll be happy to address to the ability that I can in future videos. Thanks.